walks into a post office in a Portuguese fishing village, Praia das Maçãs, on the Atlantic coast. The year is 2000. He mails a letter. Someone takes his photograph. Nothing official, just a local paper documenting ordinary village life. The picture goes into a small archive and stays there. Nobody looks at it again for 11 years. The man in that photograph is, at that moment, one of the most wanted fugitives in the United States. Here is what the record says. 41 years on the run, 3 continents, a prison, a hijacking, a ransom of $1 million. 4 separate governments asked to hand him over. And after all of it, after a superpower spends 4 decades hunting him, the total time he serves in American custody comes to 0 days. He does not manage this by hiding in the dark. He manages it standing in a post office, in his own handwriting, on a document anyone could have pulled. The certificate that will beat the United States is already filed. The one thing about him that can never be changed is already on record. Neither has been read by the people who need to read it. How, exactly, does a village barbecue cook end up untouchable to the FBI, the State Department, and every court that ever reaches for him? So, start with the man the whole village knows. His name is Jorge. He runs the grill at every festival chicken over the coals, smoke off the same station, year after year, for 2 decades. A few euros a plate. He works the door at a nightclub for cash. He sells crafts to tourists who come for the beach. He knows the names of his neighbors' children. Ask anyone in Almacajme in 2005 who Jorge is, and you get the same answer. The chef, the man at the grill. He has a wife, 2 grown kids of his own, and a house near the water, less than an hour from Lisbon. His wife once heard him mention an American prison. She waved it off. The kind of thing a man says once and never explains. A tall tale. Jorge is real. The marriage is real. The children are real. The 20 years of festival chicken are real. That is what makes the second file so strange. Because the fingerprints on Jorge's Portuguese identity card match a prison booking card from New Jersey, dated 1963. Same thumb, different name. The name on the card is George Wright. Go back to the night that card was made. November 1962, the Friday after Thanksgiving. 4 people worked their way through a string of armed robberies across central New Jersey, a motel first, then a gas station on Route 33 in Wall Township. Behind the counter is Walter Patterson, 42 years old, a World War II veteran with a Bronze Star in a drawer at home and 2 daughters, which is part of why he is standing at a register on a holiday weekend. During the robbery, one of the 4, a man named Walter McGee, shoots him. Patterson dies of his wounds 2 days later. A man the war could not kill, gone over the contents of a cash drawer holding about $70. George Wright is 19. He does not fire the gun. Under the felony murder rule, that distinction changes almost nothing. Everyone on the job carries the death. McGee, the one who pulls the trigger, is convicted and sentenced to life. Wright changes his plea to no defense, avoiding a jury that could send him to the electric chair, and takes 15 to 30 years. Then the state does the small, routine thing that ends this story 48 years later. A clerk rolls his thumb across an ink pad and presses it onto a card. That card waits. The thing that holds George Wright is not a wall. It is a system, and the system is patient. A man is convicted in a state court, and the sentence attaches to him like a debt. He is entered into a record. His prints, his photograph, his name go into files that New Jersey shares with the FBI, and the FBI shares with police departments across the country. If he runs, a warrant follows. Cross a state line, and he becomes a federal problem. Leave the country, and the United States has treaties, more than 100 of them, that oblige other governments to catch him and send him back. That is the machine. Prison, warrant, bureau, treaty. 4 layers, each one built to make the next one unnecessary. And underneath all 4 sits a single assumption, so obvious that nobody in the system ever says it out loud. A fugitive can run out of road. He cannot run out of time. Time belongs to the state. The debt does not expire. The warrant does not tire. A man can stay ahead of it for a year, for 10 years. But the system only has to be right once, and it can afford to wait forever. That is the entire design. Waiting is free. For 8 years, the design works exactly as written. Wright serves his sentence at Bayside State Prison in Leesburg, a low-security prison farm in the south of the state. The debt pays down, season by season. The case is, for all purposes, closed and quiet. Then comes August 1970. One night, between bed checks, Wright and 3 other inmates simply walk off the farm, on foot, unhurried, as if the fences were a suggestion rather than a rule. By the morning count, there are 4 empty bunks, and one detail that turns an escape into something stranger. The car they leave in belongs to the warden. The institution built to hold George Wright does not just lose him, it drives him out its own gate. He has served more than 7 years. He owes the state over 20 more. Now he is a 27-year-old escaped convict with empty pockets, no papers, and his photograph on the wall of every police department on the East Coast. And here the machine is supposed to close. This is the part it is built for the desperate man who needs money, needs family, needs a place to sleep. And every one of those needs is a thread that leads straight back into the file. Except the machine has a blind spot it does not know it has, because in 1970, it cannot yet picture the shape of the man who will find it. A warrant in a New Jersey courthouse and a name in a registry office in Lisbon are, in 1970, 2 facts in 2 separate universes, and there is nothing on Earth that connects them. So he goes underground. Detroit, mostly, inside the orbit of the Black Liberation Army. A militant group, a man with his record, has practical reasons to be near. For 2 years he is a name on a wall, and nothing else. But underground is not the same as out of reach. The machine still has him inside American paper. To truly leave, he needs a country the machine cannot follow him into. And in 1972, there is one that fits: Algeria. No extradition to the United States. A government that has been quietly receiving self-declared American revolutionaries and letting them stay. There is one problem. You cannot fly to Algeria without a passport, and Wright's face is filed in FBI offices across the country. So he does not book a flight there. He takes one. The 31st of July, 1972. Detroit Metropolitan Airport. A man in a black suit and a white clerical collar crosses the terminal, unhurried, a Bible in one hand and a ticket in the name of Reverend Larry Burgess in the other. A priest draws no second look. Security waves him through. Delta Flight 841, bound for Miami, 86 passengers on an ordinary Monday, 4 associates scattered through the cabin. The Bible has been hollowed out around a handgun. Somewhere over the country, the collar stops meaning what a collar is supposed to mean. The rest happens fast. On the ground in Miami, the demand comes through: $1 million, the largest ransom in the history of American aviation to that point. And a second condition, built to make an ambush impossible. The money is delivered by an FBI agent in a swimsuit, with nowhere to hide a weapon. The Bureau's own doctrine says protect the passengers first. All 86 of them walk off the plane in Miami, unharmed. The jet refuels in Boston, takes on a navigator for the ocean, and turns east into the dark. On paper, a perfect crime. $1 million, an untouchable destination, months of planning executed to the letter. It lasts about 2 days. Because Algeria looks at a hijacked American jet and a suitcase of American cash and does not see a revolutionary triumph, it sees a diplomatic liability with a price tag. Within weeks, the government impounds the plane and the money and ships every dollar of it back to the United States. Add it up. The largest air ransom in American history, demanded at gunpoint, paid in full, and Wright's share of it, once the soldiers finish counting, is nothing. He never keeps a cent of that money, and he never once tries to get it back. The money was never the point. Each risk he takes buys the same thing every time: room to keep moving. In 1976, French police sweep up 4 of the hijackers in Paris. France declines to hand them to the United States and tries them itself, and the sentences land soft a few years, and out. But that is 4 chairs. There were 5. The 5th man is already gone. In West Africa, the country of Guinea-Bissau grants him asylum, and with it, a new legal name: José Luís Jorge dos Santos. Fresh papers, invented parents. A clean man on file. He can rewrite the whole document. There is one line on it he cannot touch, and he knows it. Here is the masterpiece, and it is not a disappearance. It is the opposite. For years in West Africa, the FBI's vanished hijacker does not live like a hunted man at all. He settles. He builds a routine, a reputation, a life. And the logic underneath it is something the people chasing him take another 2 decades to learn. The dark is not the safest place to disappear. A bright street in a country your warrant has never reached is far better because nobody there is even looking. In that decade, a name on a warrant in New Jersey and a name on a document in West Africa do not live in the same world. Nothing links them. No shared database, no photograph that travels, no clerk who cross-checks. Then the new name grows a life around it. He meets a Portuguese woman, Maria do Rosario Valente. A man in his position marries for the documents and moves on. Wright marries her and stays through more than 20 years, through 2 children, until the morning the police finally come. She is still the woman he wakes up next to. Around 1991, through that marriage, José Luís Jorge dos Santos becomes a citizen of Portugal. Sit with that certificate for a second. Stamped, sealed, filed in a Lisbon registry. It looks like ordinary paperwork. It is the one document that will eventually outrank a request from the government of the United States, and it will sit in that file, unread by anyone who matters, for 20 years. By 1993, the family settles into a fishing village on the coast near Lisbon, and the fugitive dissolves into a life. The nightclub door, the crafts for tourists, the barbecue, and here is the part no handbook would advise. He does not shrink. He gets a Portuguese driver's license, a social security number, a voter registration card, a passport, issued in 2007. He stands in a village post office and lets a local paper photograph him. A man on the run is supposed to leave no trace. This one leaves a paper trail a mile long and signs his own name to all of it, because every record filed under José Luís Jorge dos Santos is one more thing the word fugitive cannot pass through. For almost 40 years, the arithmetic holds, and then the arithmetic changes. An ocean away, the world Wright outran is quietly rebuilding itself. Fingerprints go digital. Old ink cards are scanned into computers, one at a time, by the thousand. In 2002, a cold case task force in New Jersey pulls his file back off the shelf and does not put it down again. So switch sides for a moment to the people doing the pulling. The task force that reopens the case has something in common with the system Wright slipped in 1970. Patience. They work the file for 9 years and never take a long break from it. They read reports from the 1970s. They interview the pilots of the hijacked plane and the family of the man who died. They commission age-progressed sketches of a face nobody has photographed in decades. And then they do the thing that finally undoes almost every long escape. They pull on the people the fugitive loves. A man can erase almost everything about himself. The name, the country, the face on the old photograph. What he cannot erase is the people who share his blood, and the fact that at least one of them still lives inside American reach. The investigators trace the quiet communications that run out of the United States and across the Atlantic. A direction, not yet a name. They are close. They still have nothing that will hold up in a courtroom. Faces age, sketches argue. They need something that does not change. They are about to get at the single fact about him that no new name could ever overwrite. It is a fingerprint. Every document José Luís Jorge dos Santos ever signed was a construction. The marriage was real, and the children were real. But the parents on the birth record were invented, the history behind the name built out of nothing. All of it convincing. All of it false. Except for one detail no forger can rewrite, because it is not written, it is pressed. When Portugal issued him a citizen's identity card, it took his fingerprints, the way it does for everyone. A fingerprint does not age. It does not argue. It does not care what name sits above it. Whoever the papers said he was, his right thumb had belonged to George Wright the whole time, and in 1963, a New Jersey clerk had pressed a copy of it onto a card. An ocean apart, 48 years apart. And now, for the first time, both of them sit inside the same kind of computer. It is the same print. The 26th of September, 2011. Early morning on a quiet village street, the Atlantic a block away. Portuguese police close on a 68-year-old man walking toward a cafe. No chase, no struggle. The friendly chef, husband, father of 2, 20 years of festival chicken, walks to an unmarked car with his hands behind his back. The search had outlasted the careers of the people who started it. What closed it was a smudge of ink from 1963. An ocean away, a phone rings in New Jersey. Ann Patterson was a teenager, the night her father did not come home from the register on Route 33. She is in her 60s now. For 49 years she has answered ringing phones, and not one of them was ever this one. She picks up. A voice she has never heard, saying the thing she stopped believing she would hear. American officials call the hearing ahead a formality. The extradition request is filed. The system, after 41 years, has finally won. Then Wright's lawyer stands up in a Lisbon courtroom and makes two arguments, and the United States begins to lose a case it thought was already over. The first argument is citizenship. Portugal, like much of Europe, does not hand its own citizens to a foreign government, not for a hijacking, not for a 40-year-old murder conviction. And José Luís Jorge dos Santos is, in the eyes of Portuguese law, exactly that. A citizen, lawfully naturalized 2 decades before anyone came looking. For years, the Bureau worked to prove this identity was fake. In that courtroom, its realness is the entire defense. The second argument is time. Under Portuguese law, a sentence does not wait forever the way an American warrant does. It expires. And the court runs the math the FBI never thought to run. The conviction is from 1,963. Every year the Bureau added to its manhunt. Portuguese law was quietly adding to a different total until, somewhere in the decades of the chase, the punishment they were still chasing had already expired. On the 17th of November 2011, the Lisbon court refuses to extradite him. The United States appeals. Portugal's Supreme Court rejects the appeal, then rejects it again, and then the appeals simply run out. Sit with the arithmetic. The 41 years the FBI spent chasing George Wright were the same 41 years that made him impossible to punish. The chase did not just fail. The chase was the thing running out the clock. One contrast, the record leaves standing. Walter McGee, the man who actually fired the shot in 1962, was convicted, served his sentence, and was paroled in 1977. George Wright, who did not fire it, will never serve another day. In 2012, Walter Patterson's daughter goes before a congressional commission and describes a justice system that lost her father's killers, one court at a time across 5 decades. So here is where it ends. It is not that the Bureau lost him. They have his address. They could point to the house, the street, the village on the coast. The distance between the United States and George Wright is no longer measured in miles or in years. It is measured in a single certificate, stamped in a Lisbon registry in 1991 by a clerk who had no idea he was quietly ending a manhunt. Go back to that post office, the year 2000. A wanted man, mailing a letter, standing still long enough for a camera. The photograph sat in a small archive for 11 years while the most powerful law enforcement agency on earth searched everywhere except the one drawer that had him in it. By the time anyone connected the two, the connection changed nothing. Wright, now free, fields offers for a book and a film about his life. And in New Jersey, a daughter is left holding the one thing that 49 years of waiting finally produced. Not a cell, not a sentence. A phone call, a courtroom on another continent, and a father who is still not coming home.